Hello and welcome to episode 35 of our Timberborn Update 7 Iron Teeth Project 1K playthrough. Cycle 69, day 10. 18 days left in this drought cycle. Sitting pretty nicely at 17,000 water, just under 6,000 food like we have for a long time because we haven't expanded storage. And last time I asked you guys a whole bunch of questions, and I appreciate the input on all of those things we discussed. I do think we're going to move forward with just squaring this off like it originally was to try and prevent some sort of extra evaporation from occurring, and just since we're already up here. The idea with the corner little pockets here you guys seem to really like, but I was reminded, and I did realize this after I uploaded the video, but 1 by 1's not going to work. It's got to be 3 by 3, and we're only going to need a single one of these in every single corner. So, what I said previously, as we zoom out so I don't have my eardrums assaulted by pump noise, was that we were going to have these guys not pumping out of the little pocket things, and it wasn't going to be an issue because it's 1 by 1. But now the 3 by 3 would end up meaning that pumps in the very corner would be pumping out of the thing that I don't want them to be pumping out of. So we can figure it out. It's not going to be that big of a deal. It's just going to be maybe a little bit annoying. But we can go ahead and start the process of building out this little corner piece here. And I do think that is going to be the smart way to do it. So that'll just come out right like so. They'll need a little bit of access to get into the top here, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a problem. Now, because of how this is set up, we are going to have this bit here and this bit here to support our little wall corners. But it's not going to have to be very tall, because here's what we're going to end up doing. Put one piece right here with a sluice in it. This just set to always be open so water can flow into here immediately. And then, if we're smart about how we've done this, we could actually just cap this off entirely and have a water dump or something on top of this. But for right now, the easiest, quickest thing for us to do is going to be to just have something simple like this. Now, let's take a look at how this is going to, because I'm figuring this out for the first time, same as you, how this is going to look if I were to put a pump here. See, right there, if I flip this, it's going to cut off right above where that sluice comes out, because that's just how sluices work. So, not going to be super ideal to have pumps in the corner, but that's fine, because this ends up being 4 wide, and we will just have a 4 by 4 area that's not going to have pumps in it. So we'd lose 4 pumps in the corner, but it's in service of a good cause. Just had to check that in an actual live playthrough here. So where does that leave us with everything else? As they continue putting all of this stuff in here, I will just unpause these. I do want to have some sort of a method by which to fill up these corner bits here. And if we're not having water pumps, then I don't need to clear out extra space down here and give them a way to, you know, walk down here, because all I've got to do, like we just established in the corner, is to put a fluid dump right here. And we just have to have this depth match go right about to, well, I guess technically this is 6.55, but there we go, 6.5. If this is at this height, this isn't turned on. If it's under that height, it turns on. So this one dump should be enough and wouldn't be dumping a whole lot of water over the lifespan of a 30-day drought, which this wouldn't even be empty for probably 2/3 of it. This would be fine just to keep it enough to be irrigated and transmit all of that down below by way of all of these columns. So I hope that makes sense. I hope I've done justice to the many comments that you guys have left asking about how we're going to handle this, and a whole bunch of different ideas that you guys had that mostly seem to be in agreement. So I appreciate all of your input there. We do have all of these columns here that do need to go away, because that's affecting evaporation as well. And yes, I am very aware I can just put a tunnel in the bottom and just delete it, and then all the stuff falls down, but I personally don't want to do that, because I feel like it's exploiting the game mechanics in a way that is not really intended. You feel free to disagree. That's totally fine. I just don't want to do it that way. So we're going to move forward with this. I really do like that idea, and we can continue going on about our business. So, this one is disconnected. I'm going to remove this here, and then I have to make way for all of the fill-in that we're about to do here. And I know the pump sounds are very annoying. It is what it is. I'm doing my best. That's all I can do. Actually, I can pause the game so I don't have to listen to those. Everybody wins. Don't you just love it? So that's going to go in there, and then these bits right here as well. And that also means I'm not going to have to move that thing, although it's honestly not a very great place for that to be in the first place. So just little construction projects, keep them busy for a little bit of time. And since we're in a drought and we have 19,000 water now, I'm going to pause these pumps, except for a few right next to where this thing is here. Just so we can have a couple of beavers still pumping away, but I don't want to have all of the other stuff get removed. All right. Good stuff. I know there's still a bunch of junk on the ground. We're going to get it picked up. Don't worry. It's just going to take time. Very, 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 very happy that this has worked out tremendously well. I think that was a very good design and input from everyone on that. And now we bring ourselves to down here, where we have a number of questions, and I'm going to pause again because the sounds are very annoying. A couple of you guys have said, why don't we just have all of these entrances at the same level? Saves a tiny bit of time. Maybe it doesn't matter, maybe it does, but that is going to be a better way to do it. And if we had, you know, any pollution happening here, then we'd have to, you know, figure out somewhere to put all of our irrigation barriers, but I don't see it right now, so I think we are looking pretty good. That being said, we can make this just a tiny bit easier by putting some platforms here, having this go all the way around, and of course still maintaining access to that lower level, but kind of streamlining this. And the other concern that was raised was, is the water level high enough in this channel to have all of these pumps operating efficiently? And this being 51% probably isn't stellar, but it is, well, until the workday ends, it is operating about as best as it can. That's at 40, that's at 33, that's at 34, that's at 41, that's at 43. I'm wondering how much of that is because these are not prioritized by haulers. So I'm going to tick those boxes. We'll give it one more day, and we'll see if the productivity improves at all. And I'm pretty sure it's fine. Also, our bad water storage is just about full, so this isn't going to be working too much longer anyhow. But just let them do what they got to do with that. And I also said for the past couple episodes, I've said we're going to start getting into farm optimization, and I am going to do some of that today. Doing all of it at once is probably a recipe for another 10-hour recording thing, and I'm not going to do that to myself again. Not with this playthrough, at least. So we're going to take it methodically, step by step, while also doing other things that need to get done. So that will be a process. It will, in fact, take time. I do appreciate your patience on that, but we are making very, very, very good things happen here. And within the next couple of episodes, we should be able to get up to that 1K mark. And we'll see how many that is. This is episode 35. Definitely at least a 40, maybe a little bit past that. Again, it's going to depend on everything else here. Yeah, so productivity being super low here while we also have very full storage probably isn't a great way to analyze things. So maybe we'll come back to that at a later time. But come up here to the next level where we have corn planted. Since this is already here, let's take a look. I'm going to scroll over on my other monitor into the information that we've been given so many episodes ago about what needs to get grown. So corn rations for 1,000 beavers says we're going to need 450 corn crops with 4 farms. And to process that, 4 food factories, 2 engines, but the engines are no longer relevant because we're making a bunch of power. 61 oak trees to support all of that, including the engines, which is 5 foresters to keep it replanted, and 19 lumberjacks, so on and so forth. If we're not burning wood for fuel for the engines, we still have to have them for the food factories, so that is going to change these calculations a little bit. But what we need to do now is figure out how many corn crops we have. And this corner is not irrigated, which we already knew it wasn't going to be, but this is a 5 wide strip. Every 5th strip is 4. So theoretically, starting, say, right here in this thing and going 5 over, you have 4. This gives you 9. This gives you 14. This gives you 18. And then this gives you 23. So, assuming the pattern repeats, any given 5 by 5, which we also could have just looked at this, but any given 5 by 5 is going to have 23 tiles that are actually growing corn. So, pardon me while I sit here and actually do the mental math. I will, cut all the whatever time out, but I am going to figure out how much we have planted now and how much more we have to plant. I'll be right back. Okay, so after a whole lot of mental weeping and gnashing of teeth on my part, I've arrived at the conclusion that we currently have 349 corn plants, and we only need to have 450. So, we already knew that any given corner, or I guess I should say quadrant of one specific level here, would yield us a little south of 500 tiles. So, in the interest of actually having stuff accomplished, not being a rules lawyer about too much stuff, what I'm going to do is take this tile out. I'm going to complete our ring around the level here through this, and I'm going to say, let's have a farmhouse here. Let's have a farmhouse right here in the center that can maybe share for some other stuff. And then let's have, I guess I'll take those 2 pieces of corn out. And then, because this farmhouse right here is kind of in the way of where I would normally put stuff, and I don't want to have anything else kind of stuck in some random spot, I will have a farmhouse here. So this will be number 3, and then this farmhouse number 4 that's right here, ideally should not be right there. We can take all of these paths out, which again, we probably don't need to worry about it. We can take all these paths in the middle out, fill the rest with corn, and be, sitting a little bit higher than what we need. Again, not 100% quote-unquote optimal, but having extras not bad. And we'll still be within the envelope that we had decided was going to be the smart choice for us. So, those are also going to disappear. I will have the entrance biased toward the corn. We don't know what we're doing with all the rest of the space quite yet. But get the rest of that out of here. I'm just going to put this on triple speed. Why not, right? That says it's not connected because it's not connected. And this can go right here. So this one can reach most of the corn. This one can reach about the same as this one. This guy can reach the entire corner bits, but most importantly, overlaps with a lot of these 2 farmhouses, so that shouldn't be that big of an issue. And this one can reach most of it. So this guy theoretically should be handling most of this. This guy should be handling most of this. This guy's going to go away. Goodbye. This guy should handle most of this, and then this guy can pick up whatever's left. Is it perfect? No. But nothing really is, grand scheme of things. So where does that leave us with the rest of this stuff? Because I know we still have to have stuff connected around the outside, so on and so forth. And where are we going to have all of these paths meet up with each other? Well, we have ideas that we can implement. We have other things we haven't discussed. I still need to put in 2 ways connecting everything here. And if I take the paths out entirely, corn is one of those crops that I believe requires the 2 high. Yes, so you see that pops up right there. So we can't plant anything underneath the corn, so there's no benefit to removing these paths to begin with. That being said, other crops are going to be able to take advantage of that, like the cassava and some other things. So we will want to, on those levels, do that. But for right now, the way this is set up, I think what's going to make not necessarily complete sense, but the most sense out of the available pool of sense from which we may pull, if that even makes any sense itself, is to put in a tiny 2-way station right here. Put in a tiny 2-way station all the way back here, which I think right here, this might actually be better to pop it right there and then have a little jog over there. But I will, for the sake of what we might end up planting over here, pop in an overhang here, move this up 1 level so we can actually see everything, and then I can take this, either as a tubeway. Actually, no, I don't have the tubeway bridges mod. Why do I not have that? I thought I had it installed. It's fine. It doesn't really matter that much anyway. I'm just trying to make stuff that doesn't look completely awful. Okay, new idea. New idea. See, now I'm going to rules lawyer myself. So that's never happened before. See, I've got, I guess, 3s in the middle here. There's no real reason it has to be like this. I just decided it was going to be like that, so, you know, enjoy that. But that's going to get the center connected to the outside without having to have paths go absolutely everywhere. And, actually, if I wanted to have another farm here, which I might need, I need to redo this. New idea. Stop inventing new ways to waste time. Look, I'm not wasting time, I'm learning. It's an educational opportunity. That's the term. That's what we're going to use. Let's put the 3 wide here, and then just pop this in like that. See, now I have this right here, and I'm going to have another farm that's available even if we don't quite need it. We're about to have a whole lot more beavers than we could ever hope to do anything with, and that's going to be just fine as it is. So all the stuff on the ground still needs to be picked up, along with everything else on the ground that still needs to be picked up, so you can see this is very clearly not going to be an issue at all forever. But I did swear that I would do things correctly, or at least try to, so there you go. We have our corner of corn, the corner, if you will. I know. I will see myself out. But that is one crop solved, done and dusted, as the Brits would say. Except I'm not British, so I guess I shouldn't say that. I should look up what my ancestry is, but I'm pretty sure it's mostly Czech. Maybe a little bit of French. That's, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 generations ago. I digress. So let's move on to some of our other stuff. But hey, this has been taken care of on the planting front, and we will continue to enjoy the benefits of all of that. We currently have Food Factory 1 doing corn here, Food Factory 2 doing corn here. Theoretically, we need to have 4. I have said on several occasions that this is going to get redone, and it will. We will get there. You already know. You already know. I don't even need to say it. Now that we have all of these things here, I can take this entire wall corner bit out, restore our pathing across this, and then I suppose I'm going to have to take this out as well. That's going to cause some issues because that's currently our connection across things. So let's remove that. Take that out. Teleport across the gap because beavers are cool like that. Get that popped in place. Put a path on there. And then we can definitely still take these corner pieces out. I just would like to avoid spilling all of our water out if at all possible. Which, fortunately, does not seem like it's going to be an issue. Still a whole bunch of stuff on the ground to pick up. I know. I appreciate your sacrifice in that regard. I don't need to have this beaver working here, but at the same time, we have 16 unemployed beavers, and that number is going to keep going up. So I'm not going to feel bad about, you know, not pausing that. Long term, we do want to have 4 of these food factories. We will discuss food production optimization at a later time, probably another episode. But I was just reminded of a really cool idea that more than one of you had. And that is, what if we put earth repopulators in all 4 corners? I am sorry to say that this will not fit in this corner with the current setup of our water supply thing. However, I've also said that I don't really like this, and I'd like this to be different. We can fill the reservoir from the bottom. And if we were to do that, we could put it in between these 2 layers. We could put it on this layer. Because remember, the earth repopulator can be built on this level, or it can be built on the level above. So, that is the highest we can build this, though. If I build one more level of these, then it's going to say you can't build it here. And there you go. So, we do have the option, you know, since we're all on the same page, we do have the option to do one in all 4 corners and set off 4 of them at once at the end of this series. I think that would be a whole lot of fun. So plan on that. But before we get there, I do have to do something about this. Again, not this episode. Probably going to want to wait until we have a super long drought, like a 29-day. And then we'll figure out what's going to happen with that. But we do have plenty of other stuff to get done with regard to building out everything here. Unfortunately, I think the easiest, again, maybe not the best, but the easiest way to do this is going to be to just put supports here that we're not going to need to keep and let that be what it's going to be. But now that we know this is going to be a good idea to go into the corner, I really, really, really want to get this taken care of as fast as we can. There's not really a specific benefit to where these sluices get placed in terms of, you know, inhibiting access to anything. But I just had an idea, is that if we're going to keep these pumps organized like this, which we probably should, I can avoid the interference with the straws by just putting this right here against the wall. But then I had the other idea that, wait, that doesn't really matter because I'm not pumping out of the corner anyway, so nobody cares. But just wanted to let you know I am trying to employ critical thinking. Trying being the operative term. I'm doing my best. Which sometimes is enough, sometimes is not, but... Oh, that's the wrong spot for me to click there. Hold on. Get that out of here. But the fluid dumps in the corner, very good idea. Very simple idea. I should have thought about it before, but I did not, so you get to take credit for that. If I can ever get it to 6.5, there we go. So, now that this is just about done, I have got a couple more, and actually maybe most of these to put in. That'll be okay. These aren't pumping anyway, so I'm not going to feel bad removing this mess in the middle. Again, I know there's stuff that they're going to have to pick up. That's just the way it goes. You can't have everything vacuumed up all the time. It is almost literally impossible. But we're about to do a whole lot of construction anyway, so they're going to have to come get all these materials. And that is going to work out substantially better if we just kind of let it be what it's going to be. So, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pumps. This will be 10, 11, 12. Obviously, I have to leave that path in there until that piece of wood is in place. But if we have 12 here, this will be 24. The middle is different because we have this mess in here. But 24 here, 6 here gets us to 30. This will get us to 36. We'll have another 6 here, which will give us to math. Another 6 here, another 24 here. So it's going to be more than enough to keep the beavers alive on like a all else equal basis with how much water we're pumping with 1,000 beavers. But remember, we have droughts and we have short temperate seasons, so that's why we have to have so many more pumps. I think I remember somebody asking about that. But the actual number to keep them alive is closer to somewhere in the mid-30s, assuming constant water flow. So the way we counter that is by building a ton of storage, which we've kind of already started. We do have 28,800. And I need to have additional tanks put in. We just hadn't been building those because, well, we have so many other things we're trying to take care of. But now that we are mostly looking okay, I think it is probably about time that we build an entire stack of tanks to go, well, not that corner because that's already done, but go in this corner. But in doing that, we are going to have to remove this extra forester that I put in. So now is the time for us to decide, without doing any other modifications to any other layers, which we can do. It's not that big of a deal. But we have to decide, do we need to punt, there we go, it's not football. Do we need to put, with no in, any more trees down here? I think the answer is probably yes. And this forester also will plant all of that. The easy thing, again, this is not polluted. The easy thing is just going to be pop this bit in here, pop this bit in here, and that is probably going to be enough for us not to have to worry about this too much. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. Wait, that's a line from the Monk theme song, isn't it? We have all these coffee bushes that died because, well, everything dried out. We have these regular coffee bushes that we're harvesting to produce coffee. We have 1,200 coffee stored up. We're going to need to have more coffee storage, and I don't think that needs to be in this center stack quite so much. But we'll see. We'll have options. Just kind of playing it by ear, seeing what's going to work. But my point in saying this is this forester is not going to be that big of a loss if we get rid of it. The only thing that it's not going to be able to do anymore is plant bushes over here, but we already have all of these bushes. So I'll tell you what. I don't think we're going to need any more of these regular blueberry bushes. In fact, I should check and see if that was part of the big analysis that was done. 184 to 400 berry bushes, depending on well-being. Okay, well, how many berry bushes do we have? I'm so glad that the math was done on my behalf, so I don't have to sit here melting my brain. Again, 5 deep. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. We'll just round it up to 20. 20 times 5, you can do the math on that. That's 100. We're about there, but we're going to need more. And this is going to continue growing into the corner like we've seen it do. But I think these coffee bushes here are going to need to go away, and I'm going to have the regular berry bushes wrap around just a bit. And this is where this can help. This forester can start planting berry bushes. I guess I will just go right out into here. It's not going to be able to plant all of these. We'll adjust. But you plant this much here. We have 6 by 5, which is 30. Technically 28 because you take this out. And technically my 100 earlier is not really 100, but we're going to get pretty close if we just let this fill into this corner all the way up to around here. And then what I will probably also do is take maybe this out to this column here, which will give me another 30, go into the corner, and then this come around here might be fine. You know what? No, I'm going to do, because coffee's not really that important, right? I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to have the coffee on this side here. But the coffee bushes, we only have to have 96 of them. So if we just go 10 across, 5 deep, with our little subtractions here, that's going to be totally fine. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's it. All right. That really isn't much of anything. So coffee in the corner it is. I think that should be okay. We can also plant over here, but nothing can reach over there. So if we want the coffee to actually spread, we have to plant those 6 and just let it be what it's going to be. This should always be irrigated unless we make horrible mistakes. So that's where the coffee is going to go. It can spread from there. Again, we're doing totally fine with what we have right now. Not a problem. But we don't have storage for coffee beans. So maybe I should make one of those before we get these other coffee bushes removed. Let's do that. I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but I guess I should add the but if I'm going to say that, but it's going to be fine. Prioritize that. The coffee bushes being ripped out is not going to happen immediately anyway because demolition is the lowest possible priority. So let's just make sure those are marked for lowest possible priority. But these getting planted is going to be great. Get those in there. This one can actually reach a little bit more, which I should have checked the first time. But I think if we check this again, okay, I kind of whiffed on that, but that's going to get us a much, much better head start there. Thank you, mute button, for saving the audience from horrible sneezing noises. But outside of that, I just have to make sure that the rest of these berry bushes get planted, which this can and should be planted by this forester before it is removed. It can expand at a time and convenience of its own choosing. And I suppose it will be my duty to unmark all of the planted berry bushes for removal. That would actually be kind of funny if I accidentally removed those, but that would also make me angry, so I'm not going to do that. Anyway, point being, relegating the coffee to this corner can end up being totally fine. Massively expanding the berry production in a sustainable way is also going to be a huge, huge, huge bonus. So we're going to leave this guy alone for right now. That doesn't mean that we can't continue building. And since all of these trees over here have been put in place, I can put in this large tank here, which does, of course, need to be set to water, and that will complete that stack. Reminder that this is where the district center is. It doesn't necessarily have to stay here, but it's where it is, so that's where it is. This stack is complete for all intents and purposes. This stack has coffee on the bottom and nothing else. Because of the housing situation, I had to kind of, get into the middle of this, and that unfortunately is going to be impossible for us to keep in place because I have to put in the overhangs. So that is why I'm not going to start with this until I figure out another solution. We're actually dead even on the housing, so that's going to be something we have to work out in the future anyway. But what we'll do here is we will take that ladder out, we'll take that stack of stuff out, and even though this is still in place, we will be able to build a decent bit above this. But I'm really hoping they can get this stuff planted in a reasonable amount of time. They are still working on all these trees, which I guess technically are more important, but they won't be working too much longer on that. They'll get the rest of this taken care of and we can come back. So what we will not be able to do, just to take a quick survey of what we've actually built, we will not be able to actually build another complete stack here until this forester is gone, but we can start the process of building up the edge. Because I'm pretty sure that's the only one I'm going to be able to put in. I maybe can put this other one. We'll see. But I say the word but a lot. I probably should stop, but we're going to continue moving. I have this structure here, just single platform high. Is that the most efficient? No. But so here I go, and see now it's like that phenomenon when you buy a car and you swear in your life you've never seen that car on the road because whatever, and then you buy the car and now all of a sudden you see it everywhere. Even though the net amount of that type of car on the road has probably not changed that much. You're just aware of it because now it's on your radar because you're driving one. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe I'm just an insane person that has problems like that. So we can only do this this one piece on the outside. But that still is going to be a big benefit, and the beavers can still take care of everything else while we are working on everything else. You know how it goes. So we'll just very quickly pop these in, let them do what they got to do, and then continue on without worrying about too much other stuff. It is pretty nice that this works out in stacks of 3, otherwise it would be kind of annoying trying to figure out all of the mental math. I know. Me and math just don't get along. Math and I don't get along. I guess English and I don't get along either. But that's the way it goes. So we'll give them a little bit of time to chew on this. Pun intended, I suppose. And then we will come out to this forester, take it away, and move on from there. Every little bit counts, though. You know how it goes. And we can do the same thing for this side, too. But I do have to be cognizant of the amount of wood we have and the amount of metal we have in our production, which is currently paused for most of this because I'm trying to take all this stuff off the ground. So, that being said, triple speed. Everything's looking just fine. Come down here to take a look at all of this. They're still planting trees, which, not surprised in the slightest, is the way it goes. So I believe now would be a decent time for a short time lapse for them to do some more tree planting, some more berry pruning, some more berry planting, building part of a platform, and then once that's complete, we can touch base on everything else we have to take care of and keep on moving. We're going to get a lot of good stuff done today, folks. We've already gotten plenty. Got a few more things I want to tackle with the food growing and the storage situation. And then I think we're going to be in pretty good shape. All right, so all the planting that we can do, more or less, has been completed. These will fill in without too much more fanfare. And I think this amount of trees for now is probably okay. Anything else we'd need, truly need to plant, probably is coverable by this forester. And then if not, we can always just, you know, take a chunk out of the side of one of these things, plop a forester in the corner, and go to town. So, that being said, bye-bye, see you later, and by later I mean never. Get that out of here, get that path out of here, and now we are going to have the ability to actually complete everything else. And I'm happy to report they've gotten most of these in that we've already placed. So, not going to be a super difficult task to get everything else in. Just going to be a little bit of popping things in here, which you're going to hear me continue doing the sounds, but you're going to see this time-lapsed because I am attempting to respect your time here. And we will do the best we can to get everything popped in, even if it's not all built today. Everything popped in to put a whole bunch more storage, and then move on from there in a manner that is going to enable us to get a satisfactory level of completion in today's episode without me spending a whole bunch of hours and losing sleep and then saying, I don't want to mess with this for another week, because I don't think that ended up being great for anybody involved. Alright, so I believe we have all of these in place. They're not connected to the paths, obviously, because, of course, they're not. That was something I kind of forgot to do and then remembered just now when I saw all those icons, but that's not going to be a super difficult thing for us to get accomplished. Just get those guys right there, and it looks like one of these down here was not set for water, but now it is. And we have a total capacity storage of 42,000 for water, which, looking over at my reference sheet here, is still less than half of what we're going to have long term, I think. But we're looking really good. Oh, this one up top, I forgot that I hadn't attached that. All right, cool. We're looking really, really, really good. And they're picking up a whole bunch of junk off the ground, which I know some of you are going to be very happy about. Let's come back down here to where we have our corn on this level. So, one quadrant of one level is sufficient for corn, assuming we're using every single food source. That was the caveat in the calculations. So having a little bit of the buffer on top of that, about another 20%, is probably smart anyway, just because we're probably not going to be using all the food sources. We want to keep the beavers fed. But if we were going to use all the food sources, the next thing we have to consider is how much canola we're going to need, which is currently up on this level, occupying most of a quadrant. So the math I have on that is 520 total canola. Obviously, this is not a crop you eat by itself. It's used as an ingredient in fermented soybeans, eggplant rations, and the fermented algae, or algae rations, I guess you could say. So because of that, the way it's presented is not entirely clear on how many farms are going to be necessary to harvest this. But if we take a look at the growth rate on this, it's 9 days. So my money's probably on it's not going to take that many farms to have 520 canola. And since this is already here, I'm kind of tempted to just leave this here. Plus, we have access to this corner right here, this tiny two-way station that connects all the way up right here. I think that is going to be fine, having it in this quadrant as it is now. So let's pop this path all the way around like I have been doing, or try to have. That should be, obviously it's going to stop here. We can put another entrance to this two-way station there. And we can put another two-way station entrance here. Let's do that now before I forget, because I will absolutely forget. This is a known issue, but knowing that we have this quadrant, for all intents and purposes, filled with canola, this is probably just enough. But remember, the corner is not irrigated, and we did lose some space here, and we have all these things. So what is going to make the most sense, in my opinion, is going to be to do kind of the same thing we did downstairs. Take this bit out here and put in, I'm not going to put too many more farmhouses in, but I am going to put one here, and I'm going to put one here, and then we will have our fourth farmhouse right next to all of this. And what that's going to mean is some of this is going to have to come back out. I'm going to do the same kind of tiny two-boy station deal that I did before. And I'm going to make it so that we can have another farmhouse here should we need it. But I think this ends up working out pretty nicely. Obviously, it's not, you know, the most perfect thing ever, but it does work. And this is a... What was this? Was this a 4? A 4, a 3, a 3, and a 4? Or a 4, a 3, a 4, and... Okay. Yeah, I know. Math is hard. 4, 3, 4, and 3. There we go, folks. Gotta make that nice and simple to access the outer ring, and then this becomes a farmhouse again. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. No thumb war necessary, but that is going to be tremendous. Give us access to this other farmhouse here that we will put in if we need it. But putting in a whole bunch of stuff while we have the availability of beavers and resources to do so is always going to be the smart move in my book. And this entire quadrant, not leaving the space in the middle for the other thing, should be sufficient. Maybe not quite. If it's not, we'll fix it. If it ever lags, we'll know that that's something we can take into account at that point in time. But we should be in pretty good shape. Just about. That still leaves kohlrabi, fermented cassava, fermented soybean, eggplant rations, mangrove fruit. We're not probably ever going to have enough of that. And then the mushrooms and the algae, which are going to have to be in hydroponic things. And that's another discussion entirely. But good stuff happening here for them to be able to take care of everything. We do have soybeans. We only need 544 crops, which, for all intents and purposes, is going to be maybe a tiny bit more than what we just did with the canola. But I'm going to leave that to the next time, along with eggplants and everything else, which we are growing eggplants. We have some up here, and we only need 300, so this honestly is probably fine. Soybeans, like I said before, 544. This is not soybeans, this is cassava, but we need 900 of those, which probably is going to be a little bit more than this. We'll count it. We'll count it when we get to that point. But just want to demonstrate to you that we do, in fact, have already almost all of this accounted for, which is really exciting because that means we have a lot of other space for other stuff. Or alternatively, we can really, really take this thing to 100 and say, you know what? Who wants 1,000 beavers when you can have 2,000? But I digress. We're about to come up on cycle 70, so this is a very good time to go ahead and end this episode. Tremendous progress today. Still lots to be done, to be perfectly clear. We're not even close. But we've made some nice progress today. We've solved some interesting problems, and we have made it known that there's still plenty more to get taken care of. So I really do appreciate you watching these beard boosters, you already know. But for those of you who don't, it is not possible for this channel to exist to the degree that it does without the support of those people who are directly funding everything we're doing here, so I don't have to go solicit sponsorships from companies that aren't related in any way, shape, or form to having fun playing video games. And I am always going to be thankful for those folks stepping up to the plate and making sure that we can continue doing this, and I can continue investing this much time. At the relatively small size the channel is, it is truly amazing the amount of support I get. I'm very, very thankful, and I hope we can continue having a lot of fun for a long time to come. I got all sorts of cool stuff in the works, and maybe a little bit of new Timberborn faction fun coming very, very soon, and it's not water beavers. But we'll talk about that when we get there. Whatever it is you're doing with the rest of your day, stay safe, have fun, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.